take a look at this. The Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania, African Transformation Movement, the African People's Convention, as well as the Land Party are expected to team up ahead of the 2024 elections. The four political parties are working on finalizing details of their agreement. Zungula leads the African Transformation Movement, and he joins us more to tell us about this. Do we call it a coalition, Mr. Zungula? Very good afternoon to you. Perhaps you can give us more detail in terms of what brings you together.
Look, Duduzile, what is important is that we need to have a different type of politics in our country, particularly with the high levels of unemployment, load shedding, crime, etc. It is our view as these different parties that we need to have focuses. We need to focus on the issues that impact negatively our people and not have inward-looking politics whereby we're obsessed about the different brands of the political parties. So what we did over the weekend was basically to have a conversation regarding the critical issues that we need to collectively work together for in terms of addressing the issues that are affecting the people. There is no agreement. There is not even a discussion as to where this is going to take us, but where we are discussing now is that we need to find a way to work together, because the people would appreciate if we work together instead of us viewing each other as enemies.
You speak of critical issues. What are they?
The first question is a question of the land. We know that land was taken from Amakosi, and therefore land must be returned to its original owners. We spoke about the importance of using our customary laws instead of being governed by a foreign law, which is the Roman Dutch law. We spoke about the transformation of the economy so that South Africans are not spectators in the economy, and you don't have the economic structure of our country benefiting the minority. We also spoke about the constitution, that this constitution is a product of a compromise, a product of the former colonizers actually influencing the type of law that should govern us, whereas we should be designing our own constitution, a constitution that is a result of the aspiration of South Africans, not a constitution that is imposed to South Africans. So in a nutshell, those were the critical issues that we thought we need to address, because you'll recall, Duduzile, that before 1994, political parties and the general citizens were focused on the question of apartheid, how to defeat apartheid, how to live in an equal country whereby all people, regardless of the color of their skin, are able to live happy in our country. But post-1994, you find that political parties are inward-looking. So as these political parties were trying to find each other so that we have the type of politics that is people-centered instead of type of politics that is brand-centered.
How to shy away from that? Because the issues that you are aiming to address, the land, the economy, etc., are nothing new, especially in the South African discourse in terms of redress, for lack of a better expression. And so what has disallowed for this to happen? When you speak of parties that are inward-looking, what is it that this formation or these conversations that are being had, I guess, what is it that will be done differently to sort of give people hope that this is not just rhetoric again to gain a vote?
Look, what we are trying to do as these organizations, firstly, is to find each other, to also put it out there that we are not enemies. The fact that one belongs to this particular organization does not make him an enemy to another one in another organization. The second issue is the fact that even though these issues have been addressed or they've been spoken about for the longest time, up until Amakosi and the rightful owners of the land get their land back, up until the economy gets to be owned by the people, we must continuously have conversations and we must find a way to work together. So the message that needs to be taken out there, people to understand, is that now South Africa is moving, should move towards the politics of consolidation instead of politics of us being so different, whereas we agree on the bigger questions that ought to unite us. Because like you're saying, the questions of the land, of the constitution, of the economy, we are agreeing on those questions. So we are trying to find a way to say, let's find a way to work together, because we've got more power, we've got more chances of success when we work together, and we've got lesser chances of ever succeeding if we can't work together.
For the African Transformation Movement, at least, what was the appeal with the African People's Convention? The Land Party, I think that's pretty obvious, given some of your main objectives being the issue of land that you've just addressed. But what was the appeal with the African People's Convention? Why work with them?
Look, all of the parties that were in our policy conference over the weekend, all of the issues that we've stated, they agree with us 100%. We all agree, we all speak in one voice on these questions. Now, what we are trying to do is that we are wanting to work together with different parties, wanting to consolidate our efforts as different parties, because the past 5 years for us being in Parliament has clearly shown that the more we are divided, the less impactful we are. Therefore, we need to find a way to consolidate, find a way to work together. Therefore, not limited to also those parties, there are other parties that we are going to have discussions with. We are going to have discussions and conversations with many other South Africans under the question of unity, under the question of working together, because it is only when we work together and we are united that we are going to be more powerful, and we are going to take on this beast that is making South Africa not to go forward, this beast which is the establishment, the white monopoly capital that prefers South Africa to remain in this state, because it is the only state in which they are able to benefit from all of this chaos and the unemployment and the hopelessness of the African majority.
While we have you on the line, please do allow me to be opportunistic and just ask you about other developments that are taking place. So one being Parliament recommending that Kholeka Gcaleka becomes the next public protector, as well as the South African Reserve Bank. They were before Parliament today, essentially defending their report on Phala Phala, which has cleared the president.
Look, on the question of Advocate Gcaleka, it was to be expected, because she did a favor to the leader of the ANC that has a majority to propose her name to be the next public protector. So it was a classic case of I scratch your back, you scratch mine. So that is what this appointment is all about. It has got nothing to do with her being the best out of all of these candidates that were interviewed, particularly because her report, again, is under review. Her report is going to be under legal scrutiny. On the question of the Reserve Bank has clearly outlined that, in their view, money laundering is not a problem. When people are now are not going to declare the foreign currency, the Reserve Bank, in their conduct from today and through that release of that report, they are basically saying that it is fine for you not to declare foreign currency. You can come up with a lazy excuse that a transaction is not perfected, because it is very, very silly that SARS on one side speaks nothing about the transaction not being perfected or a transaction not being concluded. But because the Reserve Bank wants to protect Mr. Ramaphosa, they come with a different, with this line of the transaction not being perfected, only because they want to protect Mr. Ramaphosa. So what we have here to do, Zile, I hope people get to see what we're having in our country, is that state institutions are being destroyed so that they get to operate in a manner that protects or suits the ones that have got political power, which is something that is dangerous, because Mr. Ramaphosa will not be president for life. He's going to stop being a president of the country. Now, what will happen? Will the Reserve Bank and the SARS and the Office of the Public Protector also change tune to be in line with the wishes of whoever that is president? We need institutions to recognize that political players, they come and go, but the country must always be at the first of their thoughts. They need to act in the best interest of the country, not act in the best interest of the people that hold political power.
Vuyo Zungula leads the African Transformation Movement. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon.